You said that the first or the most important days of your life were when you were born and when you realized why. I could probably Google when you were born, but when did you realize why?
I was born September 6, 1958 at Georgia Baptist Hospital. I'm an old dude. I'm 64. You know what? And here's the weird thing about a gift. When I was a kid, I would save my allowance and I would buy comedy records and I'd memorize them and I'd go to school and do them, and I was always in trouble. I'd always get on the report card. All he's trying to do is make everybody in the class laugh. He won't shut up. But it never dawned on me that I could be a comedian. I actually, when I got out of school, worked at IBM, and I was the funny guy at work that was in the break room doing impersonations of the boss, and then you'd turn around, the boss would be in the doorway. That was me. And a bunch of guys I worked with entered me in a contest. Remember when the Punchline was up on Hildebrand? They had a contest every year called the Great Southeastern Laugh-Off. It wasn't an amateur night, it was a contest for working comics. So my buddies at work entered me in this contest. I'm like, no, just let me do an amateur night or something. They're like, nope, you're already in it. And so I went home and I wrote 5 minutes about my family, and I went back and did it, and I won the contest. And I was scared to death, had no idea what I was doing, but I knew a minute and a half into it, I'm like, this is why. This is what I was born to do. And I worked for a few more months at IBM, and I quit my job. And my mother's first question was, are you on the dope? I don't know what the dope is. And I'm like, no, I'm not on the dope. I said, Mom, I think I can do this. And I worked my butt off at it. I did it. I had over 8 years in a row. I did 500 or more shows a year for 8 years because I really wanted to be on Johnny Carson before he left, and I was blessed to be able to do that once. But 5 years later, I'm on Johnny Carson. That same mother said to me, you know, you wasted all those years at IBM. Okay, whatever. But that was the day. But here's the cool thing. Like, I used to get so frustrated when I was a kid in church because I went to one of them old strict Southern Baptist church where you don't drink, don't smoke, don't cuss. You walk in a straight line and you act like this and you do not deviate from that. And I remember wrestling with God as a kid going, God, I got a problem because I love you, but I can't do this because I'm wired like this. I can't do this. So I didn't know what to do. It's like, crap, I love God, but I can't do this. And it took till I was 30 for him to go, hey, who do you think made you like this? You're my masterpiece. I don't need this. I'm infinitely creative. I need this. I need somebody that can make people laugh, but can talk and go talk to guys about me. That was my purpose through that gift. So, which is pretty stinking cool. Yes, sir.
So here I am. Christ has been in my life since I was 7 years old. You know, I was one of those kids, and I didn't know it at the time. I was very creative, and so I grew up in a pretty strict Southern Baptist church where people were like, don't drink, don't smoke, don't cuss, don't step out of line, don't. And I remember being young and thinking, okay, God, I got a problem because I love you, but I can't do this. I'm kind of wired like this. And it took a long time in life for me to kind of realize, oh, you wired me like this because you got a purpose for this just as you've got a purpose for that because you're infinitely creative and you made me creative. And I was like, oh, okay, you made me this way. And it's just kind of neat. I write, I do stand up, I draw, I paint, but I can't even take pride in those things because I don't know why I can do them. I can just do them. Well, that's my gift. Like some people's gift is taking care of old people. Some people's gift is taking care of babies, you know. Some people's gift is medicine. So it's just my gift. But once I realized, hey, it doesn't belong to me, this was something precious that was given to me, now I'm the steward of it. And it's like, how do you use it? I am or not really the same thing. I heard about Purpose on Tap from a friend of mine, Calder Justice. Years ago, I spoke at a thing kind of similarly for a group of guys that were younger guys that were kind of looking for some mentorship in their life. And I kind of have a heart for that thing because I grew up without a dad. And I kind of challenged them to get up off your butt and go do something for somebody else. And I was doing a small group Bible study down at the Atlanta Mission. I did that for like 12 years, and Calder ended up coming in and sitting in and co-teaching and all. And so he and a group of friends started this Purpose on Tap, kind of for younger guys starting out in life. It's kind of answer the question, why am I here? Why am I here, and what am I designed to do? And so I came and spoke, I guess it was 2017, and really enjoyed my time. And so I ran into Calder not long ago, and he goes, hey, after COVID, we kind of shut down. We're trying to kick it back off. Would you do it again? And I'm like, if y'all are that desperate, I'm happy to do it.
Whatever you want. Find some guys to do life with. Find some guys to be guardrails for each other. Because you all are masterpieces. You really are. That's the way God looks at you. He's like, I didn't make another one like this. I'm infinitely creative. Here's my masterpiece. Here's my masterpiece. Here's my masterpiece. But you were created with a purpose. And don't waste it. Don't waste your gifts. Don't waste your purpose. Don't chase the good things and miss the best thing. How many people, by a show of hands, know the full name of their great-grandparents? All four of them? You know their names? Two guys. Which is, I'm surprised there's two. What that tells me, guys, is you are 100 years from being obscure. You are 100 years from nobody knowing your name or knowing you were alive. And the only thing that's going to matter 100 years from now is not how many golf trophies you had, how much money you earned. The only thing that's going to matter is the kind of kids you left behind that became parents themselves. Be good dads. Be good friends. Be good sons, good brothers, and good husbands. That is the full in life. This other stuff isn't. That's having it to the fullest. And there it is, God. Love me. Love each other. It's not complicated. And I'm sitting across from him going, hell, I would have started smoking crack too. And all of a sudden you realize there, but for the grace of God, I'm in a homeless mission. And what I learned over the years, people tend to view them as drug addicts or alcoholics, and a lot of them are. But that's the symptom. If you go back and find out the reason, so many of them had been molested, so many of them had been abandoned, so many of them some horrible trauma had happened to them early in life, and the hurt was so bad they couldn't deal with it, so they numbed. And so I asked the guy, I said, why'd you invite me down here? He goes, I want you to start a small group. There we go again, small group. He said, these guys have chapel a couple of times a week. They've never had a small group. And my dumb ass said yes. Which is the only thing we can do for God is say yes when he whispers something to us. I said, and I did say to him, I said, there's almost 7 million people in Atlanta, and you can't find anybody more qualified to do this than me, But I said yes. And I had to, when I first started going, I had to stop at Chick-fil-A and buy them chicken biscuits just to get them to come. I had to bribe them. And it started with me and 12 guys, and over the course of a dozen years, it grew to 32 group leaders and almost 300 homeless guys every Tuesday morning. I would get up at 5 o'clock, which was really hard for me because when you're a comic, you're doing a show late, and because I had kids, I would lease a plane. I spent so much money. I would fly home every night, no matter where I was on the road. If I was doing a show in Minnesota, I'd do it. I'd get back on that plane. I'd fly home. I'd land at PDK at 2. I'd go home. I'd get up at 6, and I'd take them to school. I went through like a decade without sleeping. But when I would do the missions on Tuesday morning, I had to get up at 5 because I had to be at Chick-fil-A at 6:30 and wait for them to unlock the door in order to be downtown by 7. So, and I did it forever. And one of my daughters told me not long ago, I never said anything to the kids about it. She said, Dad, she said, do you know what one of the pillars of my faith is? Is how, without saying anything about it, and I know you were dead tired and you got up at 5 o'clock and you would go get those biscuits and you would go down there and do Bible study with those guys. And she said, I just used to think if there's something that good that you felt that need to share it, that I need to delve into it deeper. So that just became one of the, so it's not just what you say. It's because if what you're saying is not what you're doing, it's hollow. It's what you do. You have to be a guy that lives it out, even if you're tired. You're easier to get to.